everybody, and welcome to another episode of Over the Curb podcast, Pit Stop Edition. And these are mini episodes that are our tangents when we record any episode or any time we talk about Formula One. In this episode, we discuss what these new cars are and how the drivers are faring with these cars.
Exactly. So the thing is that, and again, the reason that these ground effect cars, when they were introduced in the late 70s, they were discontinued was because that there is a lot of uncertainty in how these cars drivability is going to be. So like back in the 70s, okay, this is going to be like a tangent, but a quick tangent. Back in the 70s, when the concept of ground cars and like creating developing cars using ground effects was introduced, the problem was getting reliable data to make changes and adjustments and develop the car with authentic information, right? So at that point of time, the development used to be like half based on data and half on just like the engineers thinking ki ha ye chal jayega kind of a thing, like this might work kind of a thing. Okay, so and which proved to be a problem, and that is why cars using ground effects was discontinued from Formula One. And while we might have better ways to collect data, the fact that none of the cars in their simulators knew that there was going to be a porpoising effect when these cars actually hit the ground running, it just goes to show that there is still a lot of there are still a lot of variables when it comes to drivability of cars using ground effects. So I think it's going to take a while for the drivers to be okay and like get comfortable with these cars. And so I think Vettel
One
is
or
also
two
going
race
to come
more,
back.
max to max two races.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So Vettel is going to come back. He's going to beat Stroll,
Okay,
as it should be.
to add strength to your point, there is a validation from Alex Albon on the same lines. So after the in the post-race interviews, he told he was with Norris,
Hmm.
and he told that we don't know what to expect from a Grand Prix anymore. I mean, previous years they had some idea how the cow would perform in the race and how to get into a good uh, starting position in qualifying. They had some idea, but this year is completely different, and they had to learn it going through every day.
Yeah.
Every race weekend is a new experience for them,
Hmm.
as said by Lando Norris. So yeah, I think it adds support to your
Yeah.
point.
So I think like when they do their simulator thing and whatever, until the last year, the simulators would still be able to replicate very closely how the car is actually going to perform on track, because
Exactly.
there was nothing related to the ground that was into effect. So it was more about the car's engine, the car's aerodynamics or whatever. Even this year, a lot of like the importance of aerodynamics hasn't vanished, but the thing is that the aerodynamics also depend on the ground and the ride height, and like the downforce that is created using ride height is the Bernoulli's principle, where you consider
Principle. Yeah.
ground to be a part of the racing car, and the distance between the ground, so like the track and the bottom of the car, is what is going to generate pressure, and that will result in downforce. So
Mm-hmm.
which is why when I say that Mercedes increasing ride height to counter the force of porpoising, they are compromising on the downforce that their car is generating, because the pressure generated to get the required downforce is going to decrease, because the gap has been increased between the ground and the car.
Mm. Got it.
uh,
Got it. Got it.
Coffee heavy.
Okay.
Sorry.
So this brings me to a question.
Hmm.
Do you think Charles is the only one who adapted the new regulations very well?
No.
Okay. Reasons, maybe?
So the thing is that I still think like, because see, Charles, even with the porpoising, the speed is helping him get, like the speed, late braking, and all these things are helping him a lot. But the porpoising, he is also not able to control that, and he is also, suffering because of that. So that is the problem. But I think the who has handled this really well is Max, because he is controlling the car perfectly.
Hmm.
I would
Okay.
say that um, the drivers, more or less, like you said, every weekend is a new challenge for them. Every weekend they're trying to come to terms with the fact that, with the car, because every track has a different kind of downforce that they require. They are either low downforce, medium, high downforce, or speed or corner, and like there are a lot of things that play into the car setup. I think the reason Charles seems to have emerged as the better driver is because Charles is the only one in these three races where I have not seen any problems coming into his car. Sainz has had reliability issues. Red Bulls have had reliability issues. Mercedes, we know, we've talked about it too much. McLaren's also, like, so every I think every episode that we've talked about what is happening with everybody's car or what is happening with any constructor, whatever, Charles's name has not come yet. And I mean, like,
Hmm.
I'm not trying to jinx him or anything. I think the
Hmm.
reason he has emerged at, so I think when consistency and reliability also comes into play, when these people are able to get a much more better handle on their respective cars and everything, I think that's when we'll actually get to know if Charles has actually been the one who has adapted to this, because this also plays into an advantage for him because he gets to have more practice. Like if you look at the last three races, Max has DNF'd in two of them. So um, if nothing else, it's just giving Charles more time in the car, and it's not just on a simulator, it's like it's on actual track. So um, once everything is normalized, there is still a chance that Charles might emerge much more farther ahead than other drivers. But I think basis what has happened in all these three races, I think Charles has had a better luck when it comes to the performance of his particular car.
I'm glad to say we are on the same page, all three of
Great.
us.
I mean, it just bottom line is that it's going to be an interesting season.
Yep.
Well, so that was it. If you liked the episode, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. If you have any feedback for us, or if you want us to cover anything, or if you want to be a part of the podcast, please write to us at overthecurvepodcast@gmail.com. You can also reach out to us on our socials. We are on Instagram at the rate over the curve podcast and on Twitter at the rate over the curve pod. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, goodbye.